warm welcome and thank you all so much for tuning in. As I indicated, the legend himself is in the building. Freeway Rick Ross. What's going on, Rick?
What up, Kelly?
I'm just so excited. You know, I'm always so happy to see you in the city.
Yeah, you do. You do. You always support. You know, whenever something's going on, you always come out. So
Yes, because you know what? The untold autobiography of Freeway Rick Ross still needs to be out there. People need to hear your story. Because honestly, Rick, your story is the story of so many young, poor, black and white boys.
Yeah.
Okay. So how's the book going?
It's still selling. You know, we still getting it in. But you know, my new book is out too, The 21 Keys to Success. So
okay,
people are now buying both at the same time. So it's moving. It's moving. Not it hasn't done the numbers that I think that it should be doing.
Okay.
I don't think enough people really get it yet.
Yes.
You know, but you know, it's still moving. You know. I can't complain about the numbers. You know, the numbers are okay. It's doing much better than most of the people who published books thought it was going to do. You know, they didn't think they was going to do anything, except especially with me being a self-published author. You know, that makes it even worse. You know, most people who self-publish their book only sell a few hundred copies. So my numbers are much greater than that.
Yes.
And I'm just excited, you know, about life and about the way things are for me, you know. I'm down here, hosted a party last night, and today I had a meeting with Coach Buck.
Okay.
You know, so you know, I'm heavy into boxing now too.
I know. And I want to talk a little bit about that, but, you know, we kind of skimmed over your books. People need to know that you sold 50,000 books out of your trunk.
Yeah.
When I realized, like, the numbers for selling 50,000 books out of your trunk, I'm like, Rick is a true hustler. You're going to be successful in anything that you're doing, so I'm so excited about that. And, yes, I did hear that you were at the William Francis Theater last night. I love that place. We were there last week for karaoke.
It was beautiful. It was a beautiful place. You know, my marijuana brand is here in Ohio.
In Ohio?
Yeah, I'm in Ohio. It hasn't released yet though.
Okay.
So I think that's why I'm gonna throw my release party at that place. You know?
Oh, I can't wait.
Yeah,
I can't
I'm
wait.
gonna do my release party there. We just working out all the fine details right now on the brand.
Okay, and you know what? The Dre Will production team will, and Kelly Prather, Catching Up with Kelly, will definitely be in the building for your release party. If you need video footage, whatever you need, let us know because we got you.
For sure.
So shout out to the Williams Francis Theater family and shout out to Coach Buck. Now, Coach Buck and the Real Deal boxing team, people need to know who Coach Buck is. So it's good that you have made that connection. So,
well, I'm going to back them. I mean, I think that the job that they're doing over there is phenomenal.
Yes.
They won more titles this year than any other gym in the country.
Yes.
You know, so I've been hearing about them, you know, all over the country. And I was in town, and somebody said, "Oh, I know him." So they took me by there, and me and Coach Buck, we sit down, we talked, and I just, you know, I fell in love with his whole program. Some of those kids over there are so dedicated.
Yes.
And, you know, they're keeping young black kids off the streets. You know, these are kids who are not going to go out and rob anybody. They're not going to join a gang and kill nobody, or hopefully nobody kills them. You know, so I just think that the job is phenomenal, and I'm baffled that he's telling me that he needs help. You know, like how do you need help when you got, you know, 10 or 15 national champs? You know, nobody in this town has stepped up to the mic and say, you know what, I'm going to make sure that these kids have everything that they need. So I'm going to step up to the plate and do as much as I can for them, you know, and I think we'll be all right.
Yes, we will be all right. But, you know, hey, you know, I'm in this city, and I know people put money where they want to put money, and it's so unfortunate that they don't invest in people. What we're seeing a lot, Ricky, is that the city is being developed, meaning new construction here, new construction there. You know, as with most major cities, there's a lot of gentrification, but they're not developing the people. So thank God for Coach Buck. You know, Coach Buck and I kind of grew up, well, we grew up during the same era in neighboring neighborhoods, and people from our neighborhood, it always baffled me that some people had never even left the neighborhood. That was around the time when they had stores in the communities, grocery stores in the communities, and, you know, they didn't have to do a lot of movement. Coach Buck has not only taken these babies around the country, he's taken these babies out of the country to like Italy and I mean different places just so that he can showcase them. And like you said, he is making sure that they're off the streets and they're living productive lives. So shout out to Coach Buck, the Real Deal Boxing team, and thank God for you being willing to back them.
Oh yeah, well I'm really passionate about boxing. Matter of fact, I got a guy who fights this Saturday in San Antonio. He's from Dayton, Ohio.
Yes.
And then I have another guy, Bashan Champ, fights this Saturday. He's from Dayton, Ohio. So you all should check out Champ. You guys, he's an Ohio kid, and he's going to be a world champ as well. He's 4-0 right now. Fight this week and be 5-0. I'm also working with another guy, Anthony Peterson out of Washington D.C.
Okay.
And he'll be fighting on Tank's card next Saturday. So
okay.
I got a busy schedule coming up. These guys are keeping me busy, man. So I added another job to my already busy schedule.
Right, to your repertoire. Right. And you know what? That doesn't surprise me, Rick, because you stay busy.
Yeah. Well, I want to make sure that prediction don't come true that they say by 2030 they're saying that blacks will be totally broke. And
oh, wow.
I want to do everything I can to make sure that don't happen.
Okay. God bless. And you know what? I'll pray that doesn't happen. The other thing, you know what? Speaking of 2030, I know at one point, Deanna Hoskins, who is of the Justice League, she does a lot of work with community reentry. At one point, she was pushing to have the prison population decrease by 50% by 2030. And to hear that the powers that be would love to see members from the black community broke by 2030, it does not surprise me. It doesn't surprise me. It's hurtful, but given the fact that even Coach Buck, even though he has invested time, energy, and effort into his youth boxing league, and seeing that they don't support him, I mean, that's their overall objective. So.
Well, like you said, we have major development going on all over this country.
Yes.
I'm in quite a few cities often, and
yes.
And a lot of the development is in black communities.
Definitely.
But we're not participating. Blacks are not doing the work. We're not the contractors. And we're not going to be the residents either.
Right.
Most of these new projects are going to be high-end. They're coming in the ghettos and they're building these high-end condos and houses. And what's happening is they're pushing all the blacks out of the inner cities.
That's right.
I don't think that's a good idea. We've had these communities for 40, 50 years, and to now all of a sudden be in a position to where you're no longer able to go in a community that you grew up in a community that you thought you would live in for the rest of your life. It's shocking to some people. In California, our homeless population is ridiculous. I think it's over 100,000 homeless people in LA right now. And if we don't do something about it, they're going to push more black or brown people into the streets.
Yeah. Definitely, and that is the objective. That's the objective. Like I said, they're developing the city, and they're not developing the people. And so when you think about the politicians or the elected officials and the fact that they're not even focused on quality of life, my challenge is always to them, when are you going to start talking about health care? When are you going to start really developing not only affordable housing, but income-based housing based on what someone can afford? Because what Rick Ross can afford, Kelli Prather probably couldn't afford. And I'm realistic about that. The thing that was heartbreaking for me, I don't know if I told you that I lived in New York City for 9 years, and I came back to Cincinnati, and I wonder what happened. Like, people had lost their businesses. People were just, missing in action. So I found out that a substantial amount of black and brown people were either dead or in jail. And so, speaking of them being dead in healthcare, I know that you are vegan, and I've been talking about changing your eating habits or converting your unhealthy diet to a healthy diet, not only a healthy diet, but a healthy lifestyle. So how long have you been vegan?
I've been vegan 32 years. And I definitely think the vegan lifestyle is the way to go. Not only for us as humans, but from studies I saw is that it would also help the planet.
Yes.
You know, cows use an acre to eat off of, and on that acre, you know, you can feed so many human beings. So it would definitely behave us. I think one time I read a article when they were saying that if everybody was vegan, we wouldn't have any hunger in the country. You know, everybody would have plenty of food to eat. So it would definitely behave us to think about becoming vegan. But now, I also got to warn though, we have to be careful with these new meat products. You know, the Beyond Meats and those products that appear to be meat and taste. To me, they taste delicious. But what I just found out is they carry a lot of sodium. So
Okay.
even though you become vegan, you could still be unhealthy if you're eating the wrong type of food. So I just cut out all of the buy meat products that they serve as vegans, and right now I'm going with strictly vegetables.
Okay. Okay. Now, speaking of strictly vegetables, so you eat fruit as well, fruit and
Yeah,
vegetables.
absolutely,
Now,
absolutely.
I know at one point Dr. Seeley had warned that seedless fruit is genetically modified and so it's unhealthy. So have you looked into whether or not seedless fruit is
I try to get seeds in whatever I eat.
Okay.
You know, I believe it naturally. It came with seeds, so I believe that it should have seeds. Maybe now and then, you know, I'll buy something that don't have seeds if there's no seeds there that I can get. So I try to keep the seeds.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. You know, I know I have to get better, and I know that you've encouraged me to try a vegan diet. And I've had some vegan foods. As a matter of fact, the vegan goddess will be on our show really soon. So she came in and she prepared a vegan meal, and I think I gave you a shout out because, you know, again, you're concerned about my health. You know, I really appreciate when I was going through my bout with cancer, you said, Kelly, you know, you gave me a recommendation for someone who could give me like health food products, alternatives to the
Absolutely.
cancer treatment and all of
Absolutely.
that. So, you know, not only have you been a friend as far as supporting my brand and I've been supporting your brand, I appreciate the fact that you look out for my health.
Well, you know, we have to support each other. You know, so often we don't treat each other the way we treat everybody else. You know, just yesterday, you know, with all this aircraft stuff going on with the planes being messed up, my bag somehow wound up in Boston, Massachusetts. So I didn't have any clothes, and um, I called down to Black Owned, and I was like, hey, I need to come down and give me a sweatsuit because I don't have any clothes to wear. Right. So when I get down there, Means wanted to give me the sweatsuit, and I'm like, you know, you always give me stuff. You know, can I buy it this time? Let me
support you.
Let me support you.
Right.
You know, like, why don't we support each other sometimes? You know, why don't we donate to our own causes? You know, why do we have to wait until you know, the United Way or some of these other companies come in and say they want to help us? You know, I mean, just like with Coach Buck, you know, I was totally baffled today when I found out that, you know, here he is right here in the middle of bingo country, you know, and we got all the football players and nobody is looking out for him. He's saying just to go to tournaments, you know, costs him a lot of money. And you can't expect somebody to coach and then turn around and pay for everything. You know, it's like, how's he gonna do it? You know, he's coaching, and that's where his money comes from. So we have to do better with supporting each other.
Right.
You know, I look at, like with my book, man. It's 30-something million blacks in America, almost 40 million blacks in America. If each one bought my book, you know, my book would do crazy numbers.
That's right.
But we don't look at how we can support each other, you know, how we should help each other. And my book is a book that I know eventually everybody will read, just about, because for one, it's American history. You know, it's about being in the drug business, getting caught up in the drug business, and going to prison. And it's the kind of material that everybody wants to know about. You know, the show Snowfall, who stole my story, is doing crazy numbers on TV.
Wow.
You know, so at the end of the day, we have to keep on, you know, trying to get the message out and pushing the narrative.
Yeah, definitely. You know, the fact that Rick Ross, the rapper, stole your story, Then Snowfall, they're stealing your story. It's like, at what point are you going to give this man his props and leave him alone? But it speaks to who you are as a person.
Well, when you look at us as, blacks being in America, they never want us to own intellectual property anyway.
Right.
We didn't own ourselves at one time.
Right.
So to own intellectual property right now is a tough situation. And then, there's so many laws in place, saying, oh, you can't trademark a name that was used in a crime. And I don't know how I used my name in a crime. My mama named me
Right.
Rick Ross, so that was my name, and I was gonna commit the crime without the name or whatever. Just
Right.
the name just became big,
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, there's just so many twists and turns to how the system works, and if you don't learn how to work inside of this system, it will gobble you up, and before you know it, you're out in the trash can.
Yes. And if you work against the system, they will work against not only you, but everyone who tries to support you. I learned that. But before we go any further, I have to send a special shout out to Means and Merck from Black Owned. They are always doing so much for people in the community, blacks in the community as well. So before we moved on, I had to say that. But it's always just an honor and pleasure to just sit and to talk to you and to just see how you bounce back in spite of the obstacles that life threw at you.
Yeah. Well, we can't quit. It's like a book I read when I was in prison, and it says that the champ is still the champ as long as he gets back up.
Amen.
You haven't lost until you lay on the canvas and you don't want to get up. You get counted out.
That's
so
right.
Once they and they can count you out, but until you count yourself out. Once you count yourself out, then it's all over with. So
That's right.
I'm not ready to count myself out. I think I still have some jewels to give.
Definitely.
Some information to share, and I'm hoping that I get my opportunity to share these things with as many of these young people as we can find.
Yeah, and you will. I think that if enough people buy into the vision, and just based on my experience with you when you were I was hosting your first book tour. People love you, Rick. People love you and respect you, but sadly, you're not getting the recognition from mainstream America or mainstream media.
Well, when I went to jail, it was crazy. I was on every major newspaper, every channel. But now that I spoke at some of the biggest colleges in the country, it was funny. I was talking to an old friend yesterday, and she said, "Rick, I saw you in a picture with the Vice President of the United States," and she said, "Man, that's history."
Yes.
How often do somebody who's on American Most Wanted now, they're taking pictures with the President of the United States,
Right.
And I had never thought about it. I was just saying, I put myself in a position to get that picture. But knowing that should let others know that no matter what position you're in today, you can always fight back.
That's right.
And get yourself in a position to where you can do better for yourself and your family.
Oh, definitely. And although your friend said that taking a picture with the vice president was history, she recognized the value of taking a picture with the real Rick Ross too. So let the record reflect. She knew what she was doing.
Yeah.
So being pictured with you is just as relevant.
I wanted to see her win too. People
Yes.
got on me. I got messages on social media. She locked up so many people, and but her point of view was that she became a prosecutor, and I might be correct, I might be misquoting what she said, but she became a prosecutor so she could make sure that black men were being treated fairly.
Okay.
And I know from experience, when I would be in prison and I mean, I would only wish that I had a black prosecutor, you know, to come in court to be, you know, to be against me. I mean, even to get a black juror, you know, it's hard for us to get black jurors, you know, to sit on our cases.
Yeah.
You know, I went to trial with an all-white jury. So you know, any time that my lawyer even made a statement, you know, in court, in open court, you know, he said, Your Honor, we have 3 black defendants and everybody else in the courtroom is all white. And you know, when you think about that, it's just chilling. You know, it sends chills down your spine. But what's worse than that is that now, you know, with the radio stations playing this gangster music, you know, how many more of our young men and young women are going to be drawn into this criminal lifestyle because now they're making it look so glamorous, you know. When I got selling drugs, you at least had to go to the movie theater, you know, to see Superfly, you know, to get this mentality. But now you're being bombarded with it on the radio. And I was listening to an interview one time, and this guy said he was interviewing this guy who owns the biggest radio station in the country. And he asked him a question. He said, would you play on your radio station music where they was talking about killing cats? And the guy said, oh, of course not. And then he said, would you play on your radio station about killing dogs? And he said, no. He said, will you play music on your radio station where they talk about killing black men?
Wow.
And he said, well, it's a cardinal who's saying it. So when I heard that, I was like, wow. You know, I never heard it put like that before, you know, like, so what I'm saying is they saying that if we say we killing each other, it's okay. But if somebody else come and say it, another race, then it's a problem. But I think it should be a problem for anybody to say
Exactly.
it. You know, so we just have to keep putting the message out there to our young people, you know, because they're being bombarded. You know, I started a radio station now where I'm going to play all good, you know, clean music. Not necessarily totally clean, but I think that we have enough killing on records. You know, we've killed enough people on records, and we should see what that leads to. That it don't just lead to people getting killed on records. You know, last year we might have 8 or 9, 10 rappers that get killed. You know. And I know that part of that is from their message that they're preaching, you know, the environment that they're putting themselves in. So I just want to be a beacon of light, you know, for the people, you know, to say, you know what, if Rick can change his life, maybe I don't even have to go that way. I can just go and do it right now, you know, before I ever get in trouble.
That's right.
And that's what I'm trying to do, you know, with our young people, you know, lead them in the right direction, you know, show them that no matter where you at today, you know, tomorrow could be totally different. And even if you're the worst person in the whole world right now, you know, in a second you could change your mind and say, you know what, I'm no longer that person.
That's right.
I'm going to be somebody that now the community respects, the community need, and the community wants. You know, we have to make a stance.
Yes, and I'm loving it. Because, like you said, the messaging in the music really affects the mindset of the people, and I'm just loving this transformation. You know, I'm happy to provide a platform where people can get to know the real Rick Ross and just to see how your life has evolved into a person who wants to be a beacon of light and transform the community. The music and the era that they put the drugs out, it was all by design. It was
no question.
All by design.
Well, you know, I was shocked when I found out that the United States government had a hand in my case, you know.
Definitely.
That was mind-boggling. I didn't believe it. You know, and that's why I could understand why so many other people didn't believe it. You know, here I am sitting there with Gary Webb, and here this evidence is that the CIA was involved with putting drugs into our community, and I don't believe it. You know, I don't believe it. Like, Why would our government do that? These are the people that are supposed to protect us. These are the people that lock us up for selling drugs, right? Now you're telling me that they okayed, so when you see that, and then in my documentary, I talked to the guy who wrote the crack law. I went and interviewed him. I mean, him sit down, and he told me that even when he drafted the bill, he knew it was racially motivated. But it was what the Senate wanted, so he did it.
Wow. Just how unconscionable. It's just, and I experienced the same thing in health as a healthcare provider. It's like a lot of what we see in the health system is by design to kill us. Thinking about COVID attacked, more people who had health disparities died from the novel coronavirus than other cultures, and that was primarily African Americans. Now they have a diagnosis of long COVID, and so for the people who didn't get hit the first time, they're dying off. Black men are dying at disproportionate rates, and so that's why I kind of wanted to touch on with the vegan lifestyle and just healthy lifestyle. But the government is just highly involved in all things that they can monetize or capitalize on that we are the collateral damage of.
Yeah, well, we have to start governing ourselves first. Because if we don't govern ourselves, then we can't make the government do what we want them to do.
That's right.
So often we just allow other people to dictate which direction we're going, and we just get along, go along to get along. And I think that it's time out for that. We can make a difference in this country. We are some of the smartest people on the planet.
Yes.
We prove that almost in any field that we go into, from drugs to basketball to computers to the internet. I mean, if you look at the contribution that Black people have made in this country is ginormous.
Yes.
And for our young people not to know that they are really geniuses. I mean, you're talking about guys who can take a little microphone and put some words together that can move 20,000, 30,000 people. I mean, that's a gift.
That is a gift. That is a gift. And I made a Facebook post the other day that said, we've been tortured. As a culture, they have tortured Black people for so long, so much and for so long, because they know that trauma retards cognition. And when we are in a comfortable place, when we're balanced, we can excel, not only accomplish, but excel in any industry.
Well, we excelled even when we was in bondage.
That's true. That's true. That's true.
I mean, even when I was in jail, I literally, I rebuilt myself.
Yes.
I taught myself how to read while I was in prison. I taught myself how to write when I was in prison. I studied the law while I was there.
Yes.
So I was able to turn my life around. So if you can do that from prison, what can you do out here with all the resources and the assets that we have? But if you believe that you're the N-word, that you're a gangster, that you're a dope dealer, that you're a prostitute, those are the things that you're going to seek out for yourself. Those are the things that you're going to be trying to accomplish. So we have to start looking at ourselves, who we really are.
That's right, kings and queens.
And who we could be.
Yes.
One of the things that I say a lot when I do my speaking engagements is that if somebody take your vision, so that you can no longer see the future, or you no longer see a future for yourself, then you have to live back into the past, which could have been whatever, and you're not looking to improve yourself. So we got a ways to go, but I see great things in the future for us as a race, as a community. We just have to do it together.
Yes, we have to do it together. Rick, you definitely embody the village mindset. The fact that you came on and you said, hey, I'm going to back the Real Deal boxing team. I reached out to Means at Black Owned, and, it's just, like I said, it's just an honor to meet you. And honestly, I know that Ohio was home for you at one point, and I didn't know of you then. And like I said, I lived in New York, and when I lived in New York, that's when I watched your documentary. And so I'm just like, now this is God, like how everything just came together. Like I really wanted to meet you and to see who the real Rick Ross was. And so it's a blessing. It's a blessing. I commend you for all that you're doing, and anytime I can be of assistance to you, I definitely want to help. you know, I know that you have the untold autobiography of Rick Ross, of real Rick Ross, but the other book that you have, I want people to know what that book is.
The 21 Keys to Success. It's about my first 6 months out of prison. And, you know, while I was in prison, I read over 300 books. So I educated myself, but there was some books that stood out. And the 21 Keys is about me exercising those principles that I learned from those books that I read.
Okay.
And I wanted to point those principles out so that other people would know, you know, what it takes to become successful.
Okay. So where can we purchase that book?
They can get them off my website, freewayrickyross.com. You know, I always encourage everybody, do not go to Amazon because Jeff Bezos don't want your money. He don't need your money. He's spending. If you get him your money, he's gonna take it and go out of space. If you spend your money with me, I'm gonna help Coach Buck.
That's right.
Get those kids to the national, so Cincinnati will be represented
Yes.
like they really supposed to be represented.
Okay.
And not only that, but others in the community. You know, we got to take care of our own.
Yes, yes. And like you said, those other outlets don't give you your residuals. They take your money and do what they want to do with it. So support Rick Ross. Another thing you said that was just so profound or imperative is that we have to get out of the habit of encouraging or going into Black-owned businesses and asking for a discount. If you won't go into Macy's and do that, don't go into the Black-owned store and do that.
Yeah.
We have to support each other. That's how our community will be financially sound and will grow.
Well, I even go even further than that. I believe we should pay Black-owned businesses even more because they don't have the backing that so many others have. You know, they say that the numbers is all you need, but you know, I went into a bank a couple weeks ago and my credit score was like a 768 or something, and I applied for a loan and they told me, oh, even though your credit score is high, you reached our maximum on how much we're gonna lend you.
Oh wow, wow.
And you know, I have an excellent pay history, but you know, we're still dealing with some of the same red lines. You know,
definitely.
They just changed them from where we could see them to now you can't see the red lines.
Exactly. Well, Rick, it has been such a pleasure having you on. Like I said, I'm always like kind of starstruck. I know you. I know that I have access to you whenever, but I'm always starstruck when I see you because you are truly a legend. And so I want to give you an opportunity to tell people where they can find you, how they can support you, and you know, just give us some good words.
Well, you can find me on Instagram at Freeway Ricky. My website, which has my bio and has my merchandise, is freewayrickyross.com. And if you have your own merchandise, you can sell your merchandise on my website.
Oh, that's what's
I also have a radio station right now, so I'm looking for artists. I'm launching my record label, so if you're an artist out there, make sure you reach out. I have the radio station as well. Just hit me up, man. Let's do it. Let's go big together. I don't want to go big by myself.
okay.
You know what? Snoop Dogg saying no fun if the homie can't have none.
Amen.
So let's get it.
Shout out to Snoop Dogg. Yeah, so Ricky, thank you so much for coming on. And of course, I will see you, but we have to talk offline about putting merchandise on your site.
Oh, yeah. I need merchandise. I need people with stuff so we can,
All right.
I'm going to help you sell your stuff. You know, I got a lot of followers.
All right. Thank you so much for tuning in to this edition of Catching Up with Kelly. It was my pleasure to have my brother from another mother, Freeway Ricky Ross, on the show. As always, I leave you with grace, faith, and peace. God bless. Have a wonderful day, and goodbye.